Hello, I'm Will. Now, do you ever get any clients, new clients especially, that come to you and say to you, I need this kind of service or this type of training? And when you sit back and you listen to them and you understand their constraints and their risks that they're facing, you do actually think to yourself, well, what they actually want won't fit what they actually need. So you actually then have to turn around and think to yourself, how can I change the opinion of my client so that they understand that this type of training that I'm going to offer them and this style of training that I'm going to offer them is going to benefit them in the long run. It's like I get a lot of clients that come to us and say, Will, we require virtual classroom training. And we'll go, right, we listen to the numbers and we listen to how many people there is and we listen to the constraints we say and the levels and the roles and the responsibilities. We might turn around and say, well, perhaps it's better a webinar to help them or vice versa. And I also then get new clients that come to us and say, oh, we'd like a video on this, Will. And then I think to myself, yeah, but the training on virtual classroom training will be better for them. So what I'm going to try and do in this video, and hopefully it'll work, is I'm going to try and explain the differences of what I think is between webinars, virtual classroom training, and videos. Let's take a look. So welcome to the channel. Now, if you're unaware of this channel, all this is me, who I work for Quell, and I do short videos around personal safety and lone working. I try to point out all the time I'm no professional in front of a camera. This is just as new to me as it is to a lot of people that seem to do this. So I do try to put across a lot of my experience of being in this field for quite a long time. We'll keep the figure out of it for now. And also encourage people to think more about their personal safety and lone working. So in this video, I want to talk about webinars, virtual classroom training and videos and the differences. So let's look at webinars. I get some clients that will come to us, or new clients, and they'll say, well, I have 50 and odd staff that need, shall we say, training on this specific subject. And I'll go, right, 50 staff, what's our time constraints? What's our limitations? What do we really want to achieve? And they'll say, well, really, because of their role, their responsibilities, I can only provide them for about an hour and a half if we're lucky. And I said, right, that's okay. So it's a webinar for a big number. I said, but the only thing about a webinar is we're only really doing an introduction into the subject. I've done webinars as part of, shall we say, other speakers, and they've gone on for like, say, an hour and a half, 2 hours, some 3 hours. So I say when it's a direct subject of a webinar, we want to basically look at the outline of the subject, whether it's personal safety, lone working, dealing with difficult people in hospitality, retail, I've done it in travel, I've done it in housing care. And I say, so it's a brief introduction. And the only thing is about webinars is that it's really only one way, from the presenter to the actual attendees. You can do the odd poll, you can do a bit of chat room, but if you've got 50 people and a time constraint, and I've seen it where other people have had other, shall we say, assistants where they're typing away. But I also say, but that can distract from the main subject of the speaker, which is the main person talking. So I say, webinars are great if you can control them. So I always say it's for a limited amount of time, for an amount of people. It's a bit of a one way with a little bit of interaction backwards and forwards. And I know people will correct me on that, but that's entirely up to you. That's your style. That's fine, whatever subject it is. But I also say it's an introduction into the actual subject that you've been given. Whereas some people don't realise that webinars are not necessarily going to hit all the markers that what you as a client want to achieve. So therefore then I offer them, so virtual classroom training, what's the difference? Well, the way I look at virtual classroom training is I only do a maximum of 12 people realistically. And some people don't understand why. They say, well, sure, you could put more. And I go, yes, I know. But when I've got 12 attendees, I can break them into 3 4s or 4 3s. And I can, that's in the breakout rooms. I can use my flip chart more. I can use more interaction, more polls, more questions, more chat. I can do other things with them, give them challenges. And what I try to do is maximize, shall I say, that experience of learning. Plus, virtual classroom training is more in depth, so you can get a little bit more in depth than what you can do with the webinar. And that's what I try to encourage people to understand. It's more of that in depth. Now, from my experience again of doing this, I've had people that have attended over there the webinars, and the actual organisers turned to themselves and said, you know what, that was great for the, shall we say, certain management and certain roles, but you know, I have these 12 here, or shall we see these 28 or 30 or 36 people that I need to have more in depth. And then what they'll do is they'll say to me, Will, can you do virtual classroom training for these, shall we say, smaller part of what we saw the webinar? And that gives them that, shall we say, that advantage then of having more of an in-depth subject. So that would be over, say, 2.5 or 3 hours. Because I try not to go too further than the 2.5 or the 3 hours, because the reason being is that people can not necessarily get more tired, but it's harder for them to interact over that time. Whereas when I'm in a classroom on a whole day, you're physically there, you're talking about other subjects. So again, the virtual classroom does have its main part. Then I also then have clients that will say to me, but Will, what about videos? So let's have a look at the videos. So videos, right. Whew. I'm doing a lot of videos at the moment. I'm doing small, short, 4 and 5 minute videos directed at a specific sector or directed at a specific, shall we say, role. Clients are coming in and saying, well, look, I can't have my staff together for virtual classroom because they're on shifts or they're under certain, shall we say, constraints of their job role. So is there anything that we can do a little bit different? Because we can't get back into the classroom, I can't get them onto virtual classroom training, and I don't think a webinar would suit them because it's too short. But even a short 5, 10, 15 minute video, do you think that would work? And what I say is, well, let's look at it like this. What is the risk of your staff that they're facing at the moment? And we'll go through the risks. And sometimes I find out, well, yeah, short video, depending what it is on, shall we say, working alone, going to meetings, going to interviews, traveling, staying in hotels. I'm getting a lot of recently as well because people are starting to travel a little bit more now, only slightly. So I say, well, let's get a little video and then put it packaged together. I even get some of the management to talk on it just to give a little bit of a words of confidence for the staff. Then they send it out and then they get it and they can follow a link or they can come to links on the YouTube. It depends what they want. But videos actually are quite good at the moment because they're quite flexible. But what I do encourage is that once the staff have watched the video and over a period of time everything's fine, everything's great, that's fantastic, but I also encourage them then in the future that they must attend some form of, shall we say, virtual classroom training, or hopefully in the future depending when we get the all clear, when we're in the classroom to do it. So I don't say that what videos, shall I say, and I don't like using the phrase of tick a box, but videos are actually good, and they are good, to just fill that little gap and just to make sure the staff are just, shall we say, aware of their own personal safety. And the dark side to it is that when management say to me, but will they watch it? And I say, well, that's down to your staff. The same as staff can go on a training session, they can go on a webinar, they can go on a virtual classroom training, they can go on a physical training. It's up to them at the end of the day to participate because they're adults, and that's how we treat people. So hopefully I've cleared it up a little bit. Again, webinars, shall we say, for a bigger number, as a bit of a, shall we say, an overview, a bit of a look at the subject, an introduction to it. Then we go down a level in a sense to where we look at less numbers. I always say a maximum of 12 for virtual classroom training because then you can get more in depth to it and it's get more into the subject more and get more from the actual attendees. To having the option of having small little videos that basically just as that little gap filler, just to make sure the staff are reminded about their own personal safety. Hope you enjoy the video. Please continue watching. Please keep sending me, shall we say, ideas and asking questions. I don't mind that they're coming in straight to the organisation. It doesn't mind any of us in Quell. We like it. Stay safe whatever you're doing, and bye for now.